In a significant geopolitical development, India has joined the Taliban, Pakistan, China and Russia to oppose the United States President Donald Trump's bid to take over the Bagram air base in Afghanistan. The 7th meeting of the Moscow Format Consultations in Afghanistan was held at the level of special representatives and senior officials of Afghanistan, India, Iran, Kazakhstan, China, Kyrgyzstan, Pakistan, Russia, Tajikistan and Uzbekistan were present. In the joint statement, India joined other participants in standing up to Donald Trump's demand for Bagram to be handed back to the United States of America. In a sharp and a jointly worded statement issued by participants of the Moscow Format Consultation in Afghanistan, it read, they called it unacceptable the attempts by countries to deploy their military infrastructure in Afghanistan and neighboring states, since that does not serve the interest of regional peace and stability. The parties reaffirmed their unwavering support for the establishment of Afghanistan as an independent, united and peaceful state. Trump has demanded that Afghanistan's ruling Taliban hand over country's Bagram air base to Washington 5 years after he signed a deal with the group that paved the way for the uneven US withdrawal from Kabul. The Taliban have rejected Trump's demand, with the chief spokesperson Zabiullah Mujahid saying Afghans will never allow their land to be handed over to anyone under any circumstances and won't negotiate even 1 inch of soil. Now, Bagram Air Base, situated just north of Kabul, has had a long-held strategic significance. It is useful for intelligence gathering, air power projection, counter-terrorism missions built by Soviets in the 50s. Became a key military hub when USSR invaded Afghanistan in 1979. Has 100 fortified aircraft parking bays close to geopolitical hotspots, 400 miles from China. Iran is just 500 miles from Bagram. Trump said it is an hour from China's nuke production facility. And this is happening when, in a historic first, Amir Muttaqi, acting foreign minister of the Taliban regime, is set to visit India after UN Security Council allowed him to travel to Delhi from October 9th to 16th. Muttaqi is on the list of sanctioned individuals applicable to Taliban leaders under the UNSC resolution of 1988. On this issue, I am joined by Dr. Tara Kartha, former Director, National Security Council Secretariat, and Major General Rajan Kochar. Thank you so much for joining me. Dr. Kartha, my question to you is, why do Americans want it back? I mean, so they left everything in a hurry.
Yeah, it's a little difficult.
And how do you explain India's position, madam, now?
Yeah, that is actually the most interesting part. The fact that India sat with Pakistan and China and the rest of it, right? So that is pretty unusual. But that separately. In terms of Bagram, I mean, we all know it was an important base, and you just gave an excellent outline. The fact, I think, that even the raid on Bin Laden went via Bagram. I mean, those aircraft which went into Pakistan, they went via Bagram, then to their jump-off point, and then into. So it's a very, very strategically located place. The trouble is, you never know what Trump wants. He may say, actually talk of A when he wants B. During the time they were in Bagram, I mean, when they were there from 2001 to 2021, that's a long time, right? And they built a massive base, there's no doubt. I mean, they have everything there that they could think of, including, of course, prisons. During that entire period, nobody spoke of China. So why is it that suddenly he says, oh, you know, it's just a jump away from China, and it's not that close. I mean, there are undoubtedly a bunch of Chinese weapons in, you know, those silos which are in Jiangsu, in that, you know, that area which is way away from any possible targeting by ship-based missiles. Those missiles are safe there. There's no doubt. Which is recently brought out by satellite pictures by the Federation of American Scientists. So that everybody knows is there. I think it's about 100 missiles in one cluster, you know, something like that. They're all spread out. That's true, but why is it that he's talking about it now? So I am not sure. This is some kind of bargaining going on with the Taliban themselves, trying to see what he can get out of them. Maybe he wants something else entirely, because on the one hand he's talking all the good things about China, but this is a very dangerous game. I also heard rumors that China may well take over Bagram. So let's, in this game, I mean, I'll come to that after that, but that's about what
Okay.
I have.
Okay. General Kocher, your thoughts? What has happened? The India's position, the meeting that took place in Moscow, the way we have shifted our gears. Please put that in perspective, sir.
Okay, thank you, Karthikeyan, and it's so wonderful to be on a program, especially with Dr. Kartha also being there. Uh, uh, the most important aspect is, see, it's a principled stand. It has got nothing to do with America. It has got nothing to do with any other country. Our principal stand is we will not accept foreign bases in our own area of influence or our own uh, South Asian region. And it is not only India's stand, the Moscow Format Declaration had the consent of China, Pakistan, Iran, India, and all the Central Asian republics. So it is our joint security concern that we don't want any foreign power, especially a unilateral decision. I am actually surprised. The country in question is Afghanistan, and you don't even bother to take the consent and remember. It is, I think, Donald Trump does not read history. If he will go back in time, he will understand that Afghanistan cannot be held without local consent. The Soviets or Russians have you felt that impact. The Americans also have to leave. And look at the way Americans have left Bagram.
General Kocher, all three empires, the British, the Soviets,
Yes.
and the Americans,
Yes.
all three empires.
No, absolutely. You're absolutely correct. So I think history and both geography are being forgotten here because there are numerous concerns, and I would like to add with what Dr. Karta has said. China becomes extremely vulnerable here because just look at Urumqi, capital of Xinjiang, which is exactly 1,000 kilometers away. Look at Kasgar, where the PLA rocket force, the nuclear logistic command is there, and the PLA missiles DF-21, DF-26, and DF-36 are based. Look at Lop Noor. It's a nuclear testing site exactly 1,400 kilometers away. And finally, Kunjarab Pass, which is just 500 kilometers away. So I'm just is narrating the geography to you that how vulnerable China is. And my last point here is between 2021 and 2025, a lot has changed in Afghanistan. Afghanistan has become much closer to China, much closer to Russia, and a distance from the United States, because today United States has still imposed sanctions on Afghanistan and still not recognized Afghanistan, whereas Russia and China have both recognized the diplomats of Afghanistan. So we are seeing a situation where Chinese is thinking of spreading the CPEC corridor into Afghanistan, because 2 months back the Afghanistan foreign minister was in China, and this aspect was actually discussed. China is trying to narrow the differences between Pakistan and Afghanistan. So there is much to stake. I have got information of 5 major projects which China has in Afghanistan today. So why will Afghanistan want to go to America? Because that 2020 Doha agreement says very clearly that America has left for good, and there is no obligation on part of Afghanistan to accept this kind of a unilateral decision. So I think it's a very, very strong statement from Afghanistan, and I appreciate India's approach, because India is also having a larger interest especially economic interests in Afghanistan.
Is it?
The power unit projects are there, other projects are there.
Okay.
So I think it's a good stand which has been taken.
Dr. Kata, is it because of the lack of experience or lack of appreciation of history that President Trump does not understand that 1842 retreat of the British in the first Anglo-Afghan war, in which 4,500 British soldiers with 12,000 Indian followers went. They made the last stand at Gandamak, they held the Kandahar and Jalalabad, but not any one of them survived. They also don't remember the last 10 days of the Americans in Kabul when they took over Deranj, and when the Taliban started outrunning entire Afghanistan. They left their well-wishers in lurch in Afghanistan, thousands of them Americans. Very few were able to, leave for United States of America. So, in that context, Trump's desire to take back Bagram as if it is a real free state, not treating it like a country, but treating it like some property in Florida. That really astounds me, when a head of a state says, I want this, but it doesn't belong to you. That's number one. And secondly, you said you'll answer the second part of my question. What happened in Moscow, ma'am?
Yeah, that's the difficulty. One thing I just wanted to say is that the Taliban have made a statement. I think it was Muttaqi who said that if Pakistan assists the US in getting Bagram, we will sort you out, or words to that effect. So I'm hoping that the US actually takes Bagram. So I'm waiting to see what happens next. But to your question, I think at the moment, what we are doing is you're sending these signals that you are close to Russia, the S-400 deal we've talked of, you're going to buy more S-400s. There's this whole game going on internationally. Everybody's playing the game, right? To see how best you can outmaneuver Donald Trump. But the point is, again, I'm saying Trump is not a fool by any chance. This is not that he doesn't know what going back to Afghanistan entails. That's his biggest criticism against Biden. But so we have to wait and see what exactly is going to come out of this, whether it's going to be some kind of quid pro quo, in which case that's not very good for us. If the Taliban sort of say that, okay, let them come in, we get XYZ, we get our money back, we get aid, we get all the rest of it, then already the Cold War is already on your doorstep. You're seeing the US, China, sort of playing out each other in Pakistan, in Bangladesh, in Myanmar. This is total destabilization. And I think that is what we are trying to signal in Moscow, that we are sitting with China. I mean, this is quite a powerful statement. Keeping in mind also that the Moscow format initially didn't include us. It included Pakistan. It didn't include us, right? We got it later. So this is a very powerful picture. So it's a kind of signal. And in keeping everything else constant, this is not a good move, getting back into Bagram. And I honestly don't really believe that Trump wants to do that. He is up to something else.
General Kochhar, is Trump up to something else? Is that correct? Bagram a ruse?
No, I don't think, it's too early for us to come to such kind of a judgment, because we don't have those kind of inputs available with us to form an opinion on those lines. But what we can gather from the various experts, from the American media, from the print media, and the people who are writing about it and trying to analyze is that Trump is feeling a vulnerability in this area. And there is a blind spot which Trump feels in this part of an area which he is not able to carry out his ISR activity. See, he has Guam as a major base for the Indo-Pacific. He has Diego Garcia looking after the entire Middle East region. What does he have this side of the globe to look inside China? And what China has smartly done? China has moved all its nuclear resources away from its coastal areas because of the vulnerability of an attack from the sea. And here China knows there cannot be any kind of an operation, because you have to go through a number of countries, and you target that area, and especially it's a mountainous area. It's a difficult area. You can conceal your nuclear assets. So my last point is Bagram is an airport which facilitates your B-52 bombers. It has a runway of around 3.5 to 4 kilometers.
Yes.
So it has a strategic value for America, because in case America wants to engage the Chinese, this is the place where it can do.
Okay, fair enough. Dr. Kartha, you wanted to comment?
Yeah, just a quick point. I appreciate that point, what Major General said about the runways. That's an important point. But I'm just wondering if this Pakistan offer of Pasni has come just on the heels of this, right? So they would, the whole of Pakistan is available to the US. If they want ISR, if they want listening, they've done it before, been there, done that. So that's why I said I can't wrap my head around the fact as to why they want to go back to one of the most hostile territories in the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've really run short of time. Thank you both of you for joining me, because I think more than Bagram and what Trump wants, India's position and nimble-footedness in context of diplomacy in changing the gears is the story of the day. So this was on point 2. In on point 3, we'll look at the Indian national detained in Ukraine for allegedly fighting for the Russian army, and what does it tell us about the Russians.